To prayer. If you would like to join with another person in prayer, call 312-741-3388. This line is staffed from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily with parishioners from across the Archdiocese of Chicago. These volunteers are here to listen to you, offer support, and pray with you. A call to prayer includes a 24-hour voicemail and email options as well. Experience this wonderful opportunity to join with people just like you who trust in the power of prayer. That phone number again is 312-741-3388. Let's pray together today.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. Every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Archdiocese of Chicago presents programming about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
Good morning and welcome to the Voice of Charity. I'm Marie Jochum.
And I'm Brigid Murphy.
And we are happy to be here on this kind of dreary morning. Brigid and one of our producers engaged in a little dance party before the show began, and it really lifted my spirits. So thank you for that.
There were some good moves for sure. I'm glad we didn't capture that on tape.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No one needs to see our awesome moves. But on today's show, we're going to be discussing a new program at Catholic Charities aimed at helping youth navigate support services as a way of preventing violence, particularly in the Austin community. This program is called SCAN, and it's a collaborative effort with the City of Chicago's Department of Family and Support Services. And it's really, like I mentioned, designed for youth, helping navigate services to prevent violence in the community and in their lives.
And these youth are what we call the most at risk, which is an important characterization, and it's part of what makes violence prevention work so challenging. These young people are hard to reach. They're often reluctant to trust and engage with adults, and often aren't the kids who are going to volunteer or be helped by traditional programs, at least not at first. There are usually multiple issues going on with the young person at once. There could be an incarcerated parent, involvement in the criminal justice system, experiences of abuse or violence in their neighborhoods, extreme poverty, alienation from school, and more. And so these youth really require multiple services. And SCAN stands for Service Coordination and Navigation, which is a lot like intensive case management, meaning someone is accompanying the young person through almost every service and services in the right order, which is important to ensure he or she is getting what he needs. And the program is provided in 8 communities across Chicago, and Catholic Charities is working in the Austin community. Here to discuss the program is Laura Kuever, our Associate Vice-President for Child, Youth, and Family Services. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Nice to be with you guys.
We always love when you are on the show, so thanks for being with us this morning. You know, Laura, we kind of in our space, in the social service space, have a clear, sort of clear, it's kind of always like clear as mud, but understanding of what all these different departments do and what are all the collaborative efforts. So could you tell us a little bit about what the Department of Family and Support Services does for the City of Chicago and maybe how we connect in that space?
Sure. So DFSS works with community partners to connect Chicago residents and families to resources that help them build stability, support their well-being, and empower them to thrive. So they're not measuring they are measuring not only how many people receive their services, but also whether or not those Chicagoans are better off after receiving their services.
And how did we come to work with the city on SCAN?
Sure. So we had previously been awarded a behavioral health grant by DFSS, and that program was nearing its conclusion. DFSS then decided that a more intensive program was needed. They spent a lot of time defining SCAN, which is so great. They did a thorough assessment of each community. The youth in these designated neighborhoods really emphasized the importance of a caring adult in their life for him or her to be successful. So ultimately, the format for SCAN was established, and we submitted a successful proposal based on our work in Austin at the Tolton Peace Center.
I think that really, really highlights that important part of the collaborative nature of our work, right? So there are programs designed that we implement, and there are programs that we design and help others implement. Mm-hmm. What are the goals of this specific program? What are you hoping that a young person comes out of SCAN with?
So SCAN is categorized as very intensive service coordination navigation services for youth who qualify as being high risk for being a perpetrator or a victim of violence. The goals are really to stabilize the eligible youth in their current environment, increase their self-efficacy, which is the confidence and the ability to have control over one's own motivation, behavior, and social environment, and assist in their transition to adulthood.
Laura, tell us a little bit more about the self-efficacy. I think that would be hard for any adolescent, mm-hmm. right? It's part of adolescence is that you're feeling mm-hmm. all sorts of things all the time, and not being able to kind of self-regulate is kind of a hallmark of how we move from childhood to adulthood. And
sometimes we still struggle with
sometimes we for sure. And then you add all these other societal and family challenges. So how does that work? How do we help youth, manage that?
Mm-hmm. So we all know that youth are impulsive. Conflicts escalate very, very quickly, and we need to help young people make better sense of what's happening around them and with them. An important part of this work is cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps youth become aware of negative thinking so they can view challenging conditions or circumstances more clearly and hopefully respond to them in a more effective way.
I just think about how important that is for young people, and I think how important that is for vulnerable young people to be able to enter into that space with someone that they can really trust. And I imagine there's a lot of relationship building that goes into that, because you need to have safe spaces to explore your feelings with people you love. It's crucial for all of us as adults, but particularly for adolescents. What are the eligibility requirements? Like, who gets to participate in this program?
So participants participating in the SCAN program will be youth aged 14 to 24 who are from one of the 8 identified designated community areas. And like we mentioned previously, for Catholic Charities programming, we will be servicing youth who live in the Austin community. Each youth that we serve will have met at least one criteria from each of the 2 categories: active street engagement and previous victimization. Some of these criteria include what you mentioned at the top of the show: family history, prior arrests, being chronically absent from school, and or showing some violent online behavior. If the listeners know of youth who would benefit from the service, we do not want the criteria to be a barrier of sending referrals to the program. Catholic Charities program staff will screen all referrals received, and we will determine who meets the SCAN criteria. For the clients not meeting the SCAN criteria, since it is so very specific, Catholic Charities staff will ensure that we connect those youth to another Catholic Charities program that can then assist them.
Yeah, I think there's 2 things to highlight there when we talk about this population. And one is sometimes people hear the age range of 14 to 24 and say, well, 24, that's an adult. Mm-hmm. And we know a lot more about brain development than we did. And I'm not going to be able to cite the study or the statistic, but the brain of a young person is not fully formed until further along than we thought. And then again, when you add these environmental factors, you do have 24-year-olds who may be behaving like 16-year-olds. And then I think the other thing is the disconnection that you mentioned, Laura. You know, a lot of these youth are not in school. They may or may not have that adult in their life. There isn't a lot tethering them to societal norms, to the strength-based feedback that is so important for adolescents. Excuse me. But we're going to take a quick break here on The Voice of Charity, and we'll be back in just a minute with Laura Kuever to talk about the SCAN program.
Hello, I'm Cardinal Blaise Supich. I got my COVID-19 vaccination, and you should too. It took just a few seconds and was painless. The Food and Drug Administration determined the new vaccines are safe and effective, and the Holy See, as well as the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, has concluded getting the COVID-19 vaccine is an act of love of our neighbor and part of our moral responsibility for the common good. We have lived with the pandemic for many months, and I know we're all getting tired of it. Vaccination is one of the most important ways you can protect your health and the lives of those you love and help bring the pandemic under control. When it is your turn, I urge you to be vaccinated. And remember to do your part by wearing a mask, washing your hands, and watching your distance. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Caring adults make all the difference in the lives of adolescents. Catholic Charities understands this, and our mentorship program provides a free opportunity for youth living in Lake County to spend time, virtually, with volunteers who genuinely care about them. This program is ideal for youths age 9 to 12 who may need support navigating the challenges of childhood and early adolescence. Our amazing volunteers serve as friends and role models who help youth recognize their strengths and empower them to reach their full potential. Catholic Charities conducts a thorough background check on every volunteer, and our program coordinator closely monitors and supports each relationship. Mentoring is a fun after-school program that is totally different from remote learning. Virtual group sessions help youth enjoy fun activities with their peers, too. We're connecting youth with great role models. Join us today. To learn more, call 312-937-3375. That's 312-937-3375. Good morning and welcome back to The Voice of Charity. I'm Marie Jochum.
And I'm Brigid Murphy.
And just as a reminder, you can listen to us, but you can also watch us, Brigid. Which I think...
Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Why wouldn't you want to see us? We don't have dancing yet, but I'm going to convince Bridge that we will at some point. But just as a reminder, you can listen to us on WNDZ 750 AM. You can also watch us live. We're streaming on the Archdiocese of Chicago's Facebook page, as well as the YouTube channel, Chicago Catholic. Catholic Chicago. I always mess it up, guys. Just put it in. Google it. But we're here this morning with Laura Kuever, Assistant Vice-President for Children, Youth, and Family Services, talking to us today about our SCAN program, which is helping at-risk youth avoid community violence. Before the break, Brigid was talking about the importance of this type of programming, of this type of intensive case management on the lives of these young people and these communities. And so, Laura, how do you connect with the community? How do folks know that they can come and participate in this program?
Well, Marie, we are very fortunate to not only work with DFSS in the capacity of being a funder for this program, but DFSS is also assisting with educating youth-serving systems about this programming and connecting these systems to Catholic Charities. Additionally, Catholic Charities program staff will reach out to all current Austin community partners, which we have a lot of, thankfully, to share information about this new programming. Very, very recently, as recent as last Tuesday, the department director, Hector Rivera, and I met with Deputy Chief Cato from Area 4 within the Chicago Police Department regarding an initiative for the CBD has in the Austin community called Custom Notification. So how this works is that the CPD identifies community members most at risk of being a victim or perpetrator of a violent crime, and then deploys a team to the individual's house to offer community-based services, hoping to intervene before violence occurs. A SCAN neighborhood navigator will accompany this team when they are doing these notifications in Austin, with the hopes that some of the identified individuals may be interested in SCAN services.
I just want to repeat what you just said because it is incredible. And I want to highlight that innovation and that partnership, and how our workers, our social workers, your social workers are going into homes, into spaces to really kind of prevent and help advocate for some incredibly positive challenges. So kudos to all of you. I just think it's incredible.
Yeah, and kudos to the Chicago Police Department. I think we've all been dealing with when and how it is best for police to respond when there are deeper, larger issues going on around an event, a violent event. So that's really amazing that a navigator would go with the police to a home where violence has occurred and provide that connective tissue to somebody. And again, because these are often the youth who are most likely to slip through the cracks, we have to fill in those cracks. So that is really great news. Thank you for sharing that, Laura.
Sure.
We're gonna take another very short break, and we'll be back on The Voice of Charity to continue our conversation with Laura Kuever. First.
We invite you to watch Catholic Chicago this weekend, featuring a conversation with Cardinal Blaise Cupich and video highlights from across the Archdiocese. Here's host Todd Williamson.
The effort to get vaccinated, why the Church is helping to spread the word. We'll go inside the classroom as a national study shows how Chicago's Catholic schools are keeping students on track during the pandemic. And too many people are going hungry. We'll visit a food pantry where Catholics are working to meet that need.
Watch Catholic Chicago Friday at 7 p.m. on Chicago Loop Cable, Channel 25, and Sunday afternoon at 3 on the Comcast Network, Channel 100.
Catholic Charities staff members work every day to end poverty and homelessness. We do this on a one-to-one basis with anyone who asks for help. We also work with organizations who study these issues across our city, state, and nation. The Wilson Sheehan Lab for Economic Opportunities, or LEO, at the University of Notre Dame is one of these research centers. Through our partnership with LEO, Catholic Charities has gained valuable insights into scientific evaluation methods that determine the most effective interventions to help people avoid poverty and homelessness. Along with our experience and compassion, trusted research is helping Catholic Charities offer hope and so much more to anyone in need. For more information, visit CatholicCharities.net. morning and welcome back to the Voice of Charity. This is Marie Jochum
And Brigid Murphy.
We are here today with Laura Kuever, Associate Vice-President of Child, Youth, and Family Services, and we're talking about the SCAN program, which is helping at-risk youth avoid community violence in the Austin community. Can you help describe for our listeners how one of your navigators might help a young person? You did a great job of laying out what the program is, but what happens when they start working with a navigator?
Sure. Well, first, let's recognize that these young people have likely experienced repeated trauma, and the realities that define their everyday life can have really profound negative effects on how they think of the world for the rest of their lives. So counseling and cognitive behavioral therapy will be part of that care at some point in most cases. But the youth might need a safe place to stay first, or he or she might need legal representation. She might need an ID so she can get a job or apply for benefits. You have to provide services in the right order. I can't focus on counseling if I don't have a stable roof over my head. And you also can't just make a referral and send a youth to these appointments on their own. That's why the navigation model is so important. As a navigator, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to help you with the paperwork. I'm going to advocate for you, and I'm going to let you know that we're in this together. And that life can be different, and we make different choices. This truly could be life-changing for the youth that we're servicing.
Laura, we talk a lot on this show, Brigid and I, it's important to both of us to highlight this idea of accompaniment, and that is what we do at Catholic Charities. We accompany individuals, families, communities, and this is such at the core of our mission of who we are as an organization, is walking with people in these very difficult spaces and understanding that it's about relationship, it's about trust, it's about caring, even in those really, really difficult times.
It's right, and I think we all know that trust takes time, which leads us to how long are youth going to be in the program the way it's designed currently?
So we anticipate that participants will be in the program minimally for 12 months. The reality with violence prevention work, as you mentioned, Brigid, is that it is intensive and it needs to be long-term. That's not inexpensive, but turning that tide is absolutely critical for individual young people and for their communities and for our city.
You know, you have highlighted this incredible program. There are also some other very important programs going on at the Tolton Center and the Peace Corner in the Austin community. And I know right now, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, I just keep plugging that, there's photos being shown of some various activities at both of those places. What existing resources are you using at the Tolton Peace Center to help the SCAN program get underway?
So we have two other programs that are housed at the Tolton Center. The first is our community-based violence intervention and prevention program, CBVIP, which helps youth aged 24 and younger who are victims of community violence, perpetrators of community violence, or at risk of community violence. So CBVIP provides case management and mental health services to their targeted youth. This program is different from SCAN because the target population is different and the intensity of services is different. And then our second program is absolutely brand new. It just started on March 1st, and it's called our CC Renews program. And CC Renews serves youth and adults who have suffered more than one victimization. Both programs provide case management and mental health services. So we anticipate that both of these programs will work really closely with SCAN and will both provide referral to SCAN and receive referrals from SCAN.
Yeah, and I think another thing we might mention in terms of community violence is, especially with youth, is that the line between victim and perpetrator can be fairly blurry. When you think of youth who don't feel safe and then may engage in a certain level of bravado to feel like they are protecting themselves, the availability of guns is it's much more readily available than I think any of us want to acknowledge. And so these aren't always clear lines for these young people in terms of victimization and perpetration. And in addition to the wonderful resources we have at Catholic Charities, there are also a number of partners in Austin who we are working with. Can you share a couple of those organizations, Laura?
Sure. So one of them is BUILD, which stands for Broader Urban Involvement in Leadership Development. And it's one of Chicago's leading gang intervention, violence prevention, and youth development organizations. BUILD is also a delegate of the SCAN funding, so we anticipate working very closely with them in order to complement one another's programs versus duplicate our programming. There's another organization called Healing Hurt People Chicago, which is a violence prevention hospital collaboration that focuses on helping young people who have been violently injured, and they are also an Austin SCAN delegate that we're working closely with. Additionally, Catholic Charities is, maintains very strong partnerships with a large number of other Austin community groups, including Austin Coming Together, Chicago Children's Center for Behavioral Health, the local police districts, the 15th District and the 4th District, and the Institute for Nonviolence, just to name a few.
I think one of the things you highlight that's so crucial to all of our work are these community partnerships, and we do this work together. We wish you so much luck as you undertake this program. We know that you and your workers will make a huge impact on individuals and families and communities, and we thank you for that. Thank you for joining us today. Tune in next week on The Voice of Charity as we talk about Catholic Charities mental health services also on the West Side. For now, this is Marie Jochum
and Brigid Murphy,
wishing you a safe, healthy, and happy week from everyone at Catholic Charities.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.